Hi everyone and welcome to QuickBooks UK's very first YouTube live session. I hope you're all as excited as I am to be here today. My name's Aurora, I'm from the customer success team here in London, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can customise the way your invoices look and feel in QuickBooks. If you haven't already, please make sure you check out the description box below for house rules and links to useful community articles about the topics mentioned. The community is a great place for sharing ideas, discussion, and just learning something new. Today, we'll be looking at setting up your invoice template to make sure that your invoices look just right for your business. Let's jump straight in. I want this to be as interactive as possible, so if you do have any questions for me at any point, please send them below and I'll be answering as we go along. So let's get into it. Here I am right now in our sample company. So I've got a bit of data to play with right now, but if you're new to QuickBooks, you may well have an empty file. So what we want to do today is personalize our invoice template to get it to look the way that we want for our businesses. So the way to do that, click on the gear icon in the very top right hand corner up here, and we just want to go to custom form styles. Right now I haven't got any template, so I'm going to create a brand new one. I'm going to click on new style up here and I'm going to go to invoice. So on the next page we've got four main sections, and they are the design, the content, emails and payments. So you can see here on the right hand side we've got a preview of our invoice. First thing that we want to do is just to give it a name, and I'm just going to call it Aurora's template. Very, very original. So let's choose how it's going to look first of all. So click on change up the template and we have 5 options. We have airy, which you can see here on the right hand side, modern, fresh, bold and friendly. I'm going to go with friendly. That's the one I like the most there. Next up, if your company has a logo, you've got a section here where you can actually import that in and put it onto your invoices. There are a few rules looking at the format, those kinds of things. So if you're not sure about them, if you've not imported a logo before, we do have a link for that just to tell you what you need to look out for in the description box below. I don't have one right now. I'll be leaving that section blank. Then next up, you want to choose the colour scheme. You've got a few colours that you can choose here if you want, but if it's not there and you have the colour code, you can also pop that in here. I'm going to go with a lovely QuickBooks green for mine, of course. And next up, we can also choose the font. We've got just 4 choices here. I'm going to go with Times New Roman, and I also want the font to be bigger, so I'm going to change that to 12 point. And you can also play around with your margins a little bit if you want, make them a little bit bigger if you need to, and you can also fit your page to fit on a window envelope or use letterhead paper if that's something that you require. And that's it for the basic design. That's pretty straightforward. So once you've got all of that, we can move on to the next section, the nitty-gritty, the content of the invoice. So on the right-hand side, you'll notice you've got 3 sections. We're just going to take them in order. Let's start off with the top one. That's your header. So here, this is where you display your company information, your client's company information. So you've got here on the right-hand side everything that we've got already. So you can make some changes here if you want. So maybe my business name is just Aurora's Awesome Business, and I'm going to keep the phone number as it is, leave the email address as it is, but I might want to add a website, I might want to change the address as well, so I can do all of this from here. One thing I do want to add as well, which does crop up from time to time, we do get questions about the VAT registration number here, which just displays as a series of X's. This will happen even when you have entered your VAT registration number into QuickBooks, into your settings. You just need to bear in mind that this preview on the right is not a live preview. So it is just programmed to show you those X's. But when you actually get to sending your invoices to customers, it will display your own number. And just scrolling down, we've got a few more options. And one that's really important down here is the custom transaction numbers. QuickBooks will always put in its own number sequence for invoices and other transactions. So if you want to personalize those and use your own sequence, just make sure that you're ticking that option. You can also choose whether to display those form numbers on QuickBooks or not. So on your invoice, so maybe I don't want to show my invoice number, I can untick that. And then you've got a few more fields down here. So maybe your customer has a shipping address. You can choose to show this on as well. You can see it's added it on here to the right. And I can also keep the due date on and play around with the customer's VAT number as well. And what you also have, if you click down here on the custom field, you can actually add 3 of your own boxes if you need to enter something that isn't displayed by default on QuickBooks. So for example, maybe I want to see who's actually made the sale. That's something that I want to track. I can add an extra box to my invoice to show the sales rep, and you can see it's added it on here. Moving on to the middle section, and that's your activity table. So that's really all of the details of what you're selling on QuickBooks. So up at the top, you can add the account summary if you want. The account summary shows you what the balance on the account is, any new charges of the account, and then the total due. Personally, I don't want that to show on my invoice. I'll leave it turned off, but that's good to know that this is something that you can add if you do want it on your invoices. Then you can also play around with what information is actually showing about your sales. So for example, if you want to include the date on which you sold the service, you can add the date. You can also remove the quantity and the rate if you want. And just to personalize it even more, if you click on Edit Labels and Widths over here, you can actually change the sizes of your columns. So maybe you want to make the VAT one smaller. I can play around with these ones. Sorry, make the VAT one bigger. You can see I've made it really big over here, or I could do it the other way. So you really do have as many options as you want to personalize this table. And you do have some extra options down at the bottom if you're a little bit more advanced with QuickBooks. They look at things like billable expenses, billable time, grouping the lines together. So they are here if you want. They're probably a bit more advanced at this stage, so we won't go over them in detail today. And now we're going to move on to the third section of the invoice, just looking at the payment information, the VAT, and also the message to customer, which is really important too. So within the display itself, you can choose to include a field for a discount, a deposit. You can include the VAT summary or remove it if you want. And you also have these 2 fields. So one of them is the message to customer and the other one is in the footer. And this is really handy to include things like the payment information, which you can see that's already included in here. Now, I actually want mine in the footer, so I'm going to move that and put that in the bottom, and you can see it's already placed it there for me. And if we want, we can change the size. I want it a bit bigger, and I also want that on the left. The message to customer, you can see one example that you've got there is thank you for your business and have a great day. We could put anything we want in there. You could put your payment details back in there, maybe further information about the products you're selling. So you've really got a lot of freedom there. One really important thing to note that we do get asked for as well is that this message will be the same across all of your invoices across your whole company. If you set up more than one template, it will use the same message to customer across them. So you won't be able to create one template with one message and another template with another. That's just something to be mindful of if you do want to use the message to customer and you are planning on creating more than one invoice template. So now that we've got the design down, we've included all the fields that we wanted, let's move on to the emails. What this allows you to do is, on the one hand, to preview what your email is going to look like. So you can see, we can see it on the right hand side, and it's picked up the color and the information that we've included. You can see my custom fields are both here, but it also allows you to play with the email and create a default email template that you'll always send out with your invoices. So at the moment it says invoice, gives the number and says it's from me. I could put in something else if I wanted. You can choose to use a greeting or not use one. You can also decide how that greeting displays. So you've got the options of a blank, to and dear, and then the options of first name, last name, company name, full name. So you've really got quite a few options to decide what's in your email there. And then in the message to customer itself, so that's different from the message to customer that was displayed on the invoice itself. This is the actual email that's going out. And again, you can decide if you want something else. So maybe I just want to say, thank you so much for buying from my business. There we go. And I'll take this out. So now every time that I send an email, when it previews the email that I'm sending, it will come up with this particular email that I've set up for it. And you can see on the right hand side, we've got it displayed over here as well. So one final section that's available here within custom form styles is payments, and we're not going to go through it in detail today, but I thought it would be nice to highlight it. You've got the options to set up a payment system so that your customers can pay you directly when they receive your invoice. One of them is just to set one up for one-off payments. When they receive your invoice, they can pay you at the click of a button, or you can actually set up a direct debit if you've got recurring invoices. So if that's something that you feel you may need, you can check out more about it on our community and within the product and see if it's something that will suit you. But for now, I'm happy with my template, so I'm just going to click done. And you can see now in custom form styles, my template is now showing. So how do we actually use this template for our invoices? Well, I'm going to go into sales. Again, this is the sample company, so I have lots of transactions that I can play with here. So I'm just going to click on invoices. I'm going to pick my last invoice there for Abercrombie International. And you'll notice here at the bottom of the screen it says customize. So I'm going to click on that and my template is right here. So I just click it. It will now appear with a tick. I save it. And if I now click print or preview, once it's loaded up, you'll be able to see that my invoice is now displayed with the correct template, just like I wanted. And from the invoice, if you're not looking to print it, but you want to email it directly to your customer, you can click save and send. My customer here doesn't have an email, so let me just pop one in. So if I click save and send, you can see it's brought up my email template on the left-hand side, my invoice on the left, and when I'm ready I can just click save and close and my customer will receive that. One thing to note as well is that any invoices that you send from QuickBooks will be sent using the Intuit email address as opposed to using your own. So just make sure that your customers are aware of this, that when they receive their invoice they look for QuickBooks at notification.intuit.com. I have just noticed our first question here, which says, how do I add 2 logos to my invoice? Which is great because that's the last thing I wanted to touch on. What you might find sometimes is that actually there's something extra that you need that QuickBooks doesn't quite offer there in the customization options. How do we get around that? For example, if you need 2 logos, QuickBooks will only let you import 1. Well, we have another great feature which is called import styles, which is actually going to let you create your own template in a Word document and then import that into QuickBooks. So if you want to use that, just click on the gear icon up here, and this time we want to go to QuickBooks Labs. And so in QuickBooks Labs, you'll notice this is the one that we're looking for. It's called Import Style. So what you'll want to do is turn the feature on, first of all. Now you'll notice there's a demo video over here, so definitely watch it if you're looking to start using that feature. It explains everything that you need in detail. And we also have another article linked down below, which will contain more information about it to help you get started. So once I've turned on the feature, I just click Done. And if I go back into custom form styles now, you'll notice I've got an extra option there called import style, which just allows you to go in, browse for the file that you've created, map it to QuickBooks, and then you'll be able to start using the template in the exact same way as we did before, which is by going to customize. And it just allows you a bit more freedom. It allows you to maybe have more information that we don't have in QuickBooks, such as a second logo, another telephone number, a different message if you're looking to create more than one template for different types of customers. So it does just give you that extra freedom there. So that's it for customizing invoices. It doesn't look like we've got any other questions right now, but if we do, please feel free to add them. We will be monitoring this. We will have loads of information on the community as well. So yeah, if that's it, then thank you very much for watching, guys. I really hope you've all enjoyed our very first live YouTube session. It would be really great to see you on our online community. So if you do want to head over there, make sure you click those links in the description box to get started. And we will be announcing future dates for live episodes over there. That's it for today though, guys. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up to date with future videos. Thank you very much for watching us today, and I will see you all on the next video.